everybody, and welcome here in STB Racing League, where tonight it is Tier 2, and I can't get ready. I can't wait to get stuck into this. I apologise. This is my first experience of Tier 2 of my commentary stint in Tier 2, and it's Maldy's first time racing in Tier 2, as tonight he previously thought there wouldn't be enough people to actually race for Tier 2, so therefore he did a lot of recruitment, misjudged his recruitment, so now he's racing. We'll see what he can perform here as he's going on an outlap, but I apologise if I have a little bit of the case of the burps, but a very iconic circuit Spa is in of itself. About 6 minutes left of the qualifying session. You can see Bram on console currently right now 143.2. He's leading this qualifying stint so far. Mgeld in P2, Volta P3, Toby P4, and You're Not Blind, you can read it right off your screen right there. And my co-commentator here with me tonight is no other but the mighty Mafia.
I was waiting for you to introduce me at some point before you started rambling on. Yep, it's time for change. I'm not streaming, but I think it's mainly because that's now Pistol's now streaming, and nowadays obviously Pistol's already got the stream on his Xbox, so I'll just keep it going as that. So if the stream's more quality, is more worse than normal, and I'm sounding like I'm coming out of a microwave, then it's not my fault. But yes, and first another thing, just call Bram on console Bram before you start overcomplicating it, because just Bram on console just sounds weird.
Yeah, alright.
And also, on the intro, you said Tier 2 about, I think, 4 or 5 times. In a space of about 30
But
seconds.
anyways, Magni is able to take top spot very early on here in this, well, very late on actually in the qualifying session.
He's got those grip packs enabled.
Yeah, and Magni with the, in the Haskell 143.280, only 9 thousandths ahead of Bram's lap time. We'll see how he can battle with the 143.280 as we enter the very late stages here of this qualifying session. But so far, Matthew, what have you made of it?
Well, I've not seen too much so far. I've seen a couple of people having little moments. It's a difficult track to stop these tracks. There's quite a lot of places where you can easily understeer, or you can have a lot of moments. I've seen a lot of people have some mistakes so far, but so far so clean. I haven't seen anyone making major mistakes, but I think there's still quite a few people yet to set lap times. I just realised that Joey and Can are both out of this qualifying session already. I don't know why. I swear to God, they've binned it out of Radeon. And they're just bad drivers, because people that spin it out of there, people don't know how to make setups.
Well, the man I want to highlight in this qualifying session is STB Maldi. Considering he is a Tier 3 driver, I'm very interested to see what he can do with the likes of course, Crookin, Mgeld, potentially Bram, so on and so forth. Maldi going through the most technical part of the circuit, which is Sector 2, with the comms. You've also got that deep and steep right hand, multiple turns in Sector 2 that tend to catch you out, make you spin, make you crash with the car ahead of you. But Maldi's able to manoeuvre around those turns pretty easily. But now going into the last 2 turns of the circuit, the best stop chicane, one of my favourite places to look for overtaking, not only in the Spa circuit in of itself, but in just any track. And now into the last turn. Round the last turn, Maldi comes. Where's he going to put himself on the map? Across the line, it's P12 with a 144.359.
Obviously, Maldi a little bit, obviously not quite practicing like he normally does for Tier 3 at various times. His pace might be a little bit slower compared to what he might be tomorrow when he gets more practice in. He's back in the Ferrari he's familiar with, but obviously, yep, Maldi's in the come box. Obviously, we also need to appreciate Maldi right now, because he's got a lot of drivers in for tonight. Obviously, we had a very, very poor showing yesterday. And Maldi's thought, yep, Tier 2, screw it, we're going to get as many drivers as we can. And then we got 20 drivers here. Bit of a mix as well. We've got some drivers that sometimes race in Tier 1, like Crookin or Joey, who sometimes race in Tier 1. And you also got drivers like Maldi, and then also have drivers like Callum, who Callum was in Tier 3 last season. So we've got a bit of a mix of drivers here in terms of pace. We'll see how this works out. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be very interesting to have different levels of battles at different stages, at different parts of the track.
Indeed. But also, I would like to highlight another man on the track so far, and it's Yavuz Tugra. He's the man leading the championship here in Tier 2 by 39 points. But right now, he's going to be out of the points starting the Spa Grand Prix, unless he is able to improve on his previous 145.121. We'll see if he can potentially bring that down, maybe put himself inside of the top 10, finally get himself in a starting position for those crucial points coming in, of course, near the end of the season. We'll see what happens with Yavuz Tugra's so far dominant reign up top in the championship. But I'm going to ask you the question, Matthew. With Yavuz Tugra, do you think he's going to be able to put himself in the podium spot starting the Grand Prix?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Obviously, still yet to set of a relative lap time. See how it goes. As I just witnessed as the LCR chime just absolutely obliterated the Lacombe chicane. He was coming out of the pits literally last second. So that will definitely be up for the stewards' inquiries. I'm going to record that. So yeah, can't be cutting corners during the qualifying. It's not allowed. It's dangerous driving effectively, gaining an advantage to try and get you that time in. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, he's just coming out. Has he just crashed? No, that's Alex Tur. He's just been the P1. But Alex Tur is on his lap now. He's coming around this understeer right-hander. Always seems to catch some people out. Certainly does catch me out sometimes. No name. I spelled out here on the end of the middle of lap 1. Yesterday.
And Tugra here going into the left-hander. It's very easy to just brake and then go.
He's gone wide. He's
validated once more. Yep, and sometimes that's happened, and he's crashed himself out the qualifying session out of pure anger with the fact that he's starting so low on the grid. Considering he's the championship leader, how is this going to affect his? Oh, yeah, I saw that as well with Kevin Byland. That was a very, very.
Dark, was it not darking?
I just looked back on that on stream. It's a millisecond. It's a whisker away from.
He
from
was so close.
Crash.
I just spent a second on the McLaren going slow. I want to see this blue car go right past it.
Oh, well, we're going to focus back onto the top here. And Magny has spun, hits the wall, breaks his front wing, and now
he's
all
done a
the
Charles
pressure
Leclerc. He's beached
and
himself.
attention is shifted and is put onto Bram to potentially reclaim his P1, his pole position right at the end of this Spa qualifying session. Magny spins, hits the wall, breaks his front ring on his last run, and now Bram on his last run here in Spa.
9,000 is all he needs.
Can he just get P1? Can he get pole position going into the, I want to say, 22 lapper? Bram will last turn. Oh, he's made a mess of it! He's made a mess of it! Spins too eager on the throttle, and he's bottled his chance of getting pole position for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari, I think he'd be not be happy with the Ferrari there. Whether the Ferrari's on a lap himself, Tayman, I don't think he was actually setting the proper lap in the end. I don't know, but what it was,
Gerald has flown himself to the top of the leaderboard, to the top of the qualifying session. Mgel with a 143.144. He skyrockets himself into P1. The Williams on his debut race, by the way. With absolutely outstanding. And Soipy getting up there for P2 as well. The McLaren doing fantastic as well.
So for the Haas.
The Haas car.
That's Magny, sorry, with the front wing. So I thought that was Slop for a second, and he's retired.
But we all thought it was done and dusted, and that Magny would be able to get pole position to start on the front row of the grid, starting the Belgian Grand Prix. But that's been quickly turned on its head as Mgeld has qualified P1, going into the race, gets the most prestige start of them all, and the Williams driver in his debut qualifying session has got himself pole position.
Yep, a few changes there towards the end of the qualifying session. Obviously, Magny screening his lap over, doing a bit of a Charles Leclerc there, and spinning again, breaking his front wing. But he's obviously lost it. Whether he was improving that lap time or not, it's just cost himself a possible pole position. But whether he can gain that into less source for, like I say, tomorrow's race. But the race isn't happening in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes on with the slipstream and the very low downforce drag going down into Lacombe.
Very interesting to see what will happen going into the Spa Grand Prix as MGL at his debut race. I will say it for the last time, I promise. Getting pole very late on in that qualifying session. Toby qualifying P2, Magni P3, Bram P4, Volta P5, Chime P6, Julian Kelentovic in P7, Dilemma P8, Crookham P9, Dark Engineer P10, Alex Tur P11, Ripley P12, Slut P13, Maldi P14, Kevin Byland P15, Yavastogra P16, Toman P17, João Alves P18, Joey 19 and Callum P20. Starting off this Spa Grand Prix, what an end to that qualifying session. What's the start of the 22 lapper? What's it going to be like? We'll see very shortly.
You'll see very shortly indeed. And to see what everyone decides to do on here. It doesn't seem to be any rain for now. Interesting to see what people do with strategies. Learned a lot from yesterday. So a good thing about Tier 1 is you find a lot of information. And obviously for previous races obviously from the previous season, obviously I found out that those mediums actually surprisingly do last longer than you would think they would. They can do about 12 laps, which is over half race distance. So I'm interested to see if people want to pit earlier for the onto the mediums, or whether they want to extend and then push harder towards the end. Be interesting to see, but the undercut is generally quite powerful around here, considering how long the outlap is. So it'll be very interesting to see how people go. Obviously, got a big grid here. It'll be action-packed.
Indeed it will, as now there's only a mere 7 seconds until we will have 5 red lights, and then action-packed content comes to you very shortly. Well, in fact, it's right now.
Formation lap.
Never mind. Formation lap.
Not a sprint race.
I'm tired. I had 3 hours of sleep last night. No.
3 hours? That's nothing. I had half an hour's sleep.
Forgive
I
me.
I was running with stomach problems all bloody night.
Bro, I haven't made a mistake like that. Since do you know what it is? It's probably because I commentate for a certain different league on Tuesdays, and they don't do formation laps. So that's probably why I thought it was going to be instantly 5 red lights. Do apologise for that very silly mistake. But to run you down, actually, I think I'll mainly just take a look at what the strategy is in terms of tyres for everybody. Seems like most people are going to go onto those hard set compound tyres. Looks like both the Alpha Tauris, the Aston Martin of Dilemma, and also the Alfa Romeo of Ripley actually choosing to start on the mediums. What's your take on that, Matthew?
Obviously, I always find it quite interesting because normally, obviously, in real life, we do see that more often. We also see it on the softer tyre, and obviously work on the harder tyre towards the end. We saw that in Miami, actually, it works very well. The alternate structure works very well. Obviously, the game, the harder tyre is normally the preferable tyre to start on with and push nicely on the mediums towards the end. But sometimes it can work. We saw in France, I think it was in Tier 3, I think it was. Was it Tier 2? I can't remember what it was now. I think it might have been Tier 2, where I think it was a Ferrari. And even though he did mediums to hards, he actually did very... it was Toman, I think it was. It was Toman in Tier 3. It was Tier 2, Toman. I'm confused now. Toman's still a Tier 3 driver, isn't he? Yeah, Toman. Yeah, that's right. I'm getting confused now because we've got drivers from different tiers now. It's frying my brain. Toman was in... He started the mediums, went in the hards, and it works out really well for him in the end. He did it perfectly. So it can work, but it's just got to be done perfectly. You need to be in clean air to get those softer tyres working at optimal pace. But the last thing you want to be doing is getting bogged down behind people on the slower tyre.
Well, let's see what the Williams driver can do. Can he hold his nerve going into turn 1? Rebel is sideways. I believe that's Bram, but nevertheless, a different blue car is on top of the grids to start the Grand Prix, that being of course MGL'd. He's going to have to try and keep his nerve going into turn 1. Can he keep Toby, Magni, Bram, Volta, Chime, all these very powerful and very good drivers behind him? We see very shortly.
A lot of people disqualifying again on the Grids.
5 red lights. It's a glitch, isn't it?
Yeah, it was always a glitch for us.
Green light, go, go, go! Here in Tier 2
Just off
in
Toby.
Belgium, and that's a fantastic start from Toby. Instantly, there's a bit of contact with the AlphaTauris in the background. Looks like MJ a little bit aggressive going into the first turn. Bram is round. He's now back at the grid. Looks like there's action-packed content going into that first turn. Magni going to get very close to Toby going into the Camel straight. Toby going to come straight back at MJ. MJ did actually push him wide going into that first turn. Maybe MJ just being a little bit too aggressive off of the start. He's now going to get a very good run on them going down into the com here. Looks like the McLaren's looking to go round the outside of the Williams driver. They've been contact!
Oh, they've been contact!
Somehow he's round! MJ's round! And MJ is round due to the contact! And MJ has been spun and he's back down into P20. That is horrific for the Williams fans, for MJ as well. His debut race, it's gone from a dream to an absolute nightmare as Kruken goes down the inside on Julian Kalinanotovic. I'm just going to call him Julian.
So Joey just squeezed Kevin almost into the barrier there, a no name. And they're going side by side through Huon, and the McLaren gives away.
Oh, the McLaren, yeah, that is very dangerous.
Just takes advantage of that.
Very good from the man leading the championship standings so far. As up ahead, you can see a mistake there by Julian. And Dilemma is looking for an overtake. Couldn't find one, though. What was your take on that?
Oh, Tugra!
And Tugra
he's just gone straight on there.
And now he's joined back on track. He's now side by side. No, he's not side by side with Kevin Byland anymore. He's actually had to stay behind the McLaren as Alex Tur has gone round. He's now P20 in the Grand Prix. Speaking, oh, look at up top. Here's Volta looking for a move here on Toby. Maybe looking for a switch back on the exit of the last turn of the Spa circuit, of course. Here comes Volta here. Can he look for a move going into first turn, or is he just a little bit too far back to look for it? But I would like to get your take, Matthew, on the contact between MGels and also Toby going into the com. What's your take on that? Who's at fault for that?
I was on board with MGels when that happened, or Toby, I don't actually know. I think I was on board with MGels. It just seemed like they had a bit of initial contact, and they both seemed to catch it initially. But I think when they both managed to shoot themselves out each other out, they kind of made contact again, and it just created enough rotation in the car of the Williams just to swing the car around and lose the rear end. I think it's very fortunate contact there. It just seemed that he just wasn't able to quite save it. We'll see in the Stewarts whether either of them are at fault, but for now it seemed like quite much of a racing instant.
Well, wise words from Matthew. It's just a racing incident for the both of them going into the comms. A very difficult turn to go side by side, actually. You've got to be very careful with your braking zone. And that contact there, I mean, I'm not going to say it was bound to happen, but since it's Tier 2, it was pretty much bound to happen. You can just see, though, Magni's not giving up on this P2. The Haas car trying to get the overtake on Volta. Volta, of course, almost previously getting the overtake on Toby. And, I mean, Toby, he's just pulling away. I mean, how much ERS has he used? He's used quite a bit of ERS compared to Toby up top right now. And McLaren's used 50% of his ERS. Volta, only a mere 25. And you can just see Magni's... Oh, Magni misses braking so massively. And that could have been really dangerous going into the bus stop chicane as Kevin Byland. And it looks like... Oh, no, never mind. Mercedes pulling into the pit lane.
Toby's trying to break that. Toby's trying to break that DRS, but he's not going to quite do it this lap. And Tuga's out.
Tuga's retired. Out. The championship leader has retired of the Spa Grand Prix in Belgium.
He's in the pit lane.
This invites Engineer to actually close down the gap. He's currently outside the points. Got to try and get back into the points. This is massive, actually, because Yavis Tugra going into next week, I can't remember which track it is, but going into next week, Engineer, if he can close down 25 points, it will be within 10 points between the two of them going into next week. This is a massive opportunity for Engineer to pick up some valuable points and close down this gap as Ripley and Chime going side by side through the right-hander. Ripley brave on the brakes and therefore gets the better turnout of the two. What's your thought on Yavis Tugra retiring in this Spa Grand Prix?
I'm a bit baffled, to be honest, because he did have to... First of all, why is he retired in the pit lane? Second of all, did he have damage? Did he have some issues? Does he have to go for some reason? Don't know, because even if he pick up damage, you got 20 other laps, so anything could happen. You saw what happened in Tier 1, obviously I binned it. But anything can happen, a stage could come out and it could bring it right back into the race. And I'm a bit baffled with that.
Well,
so, honestly, I'm unsure. Oh, and so he's round. It's Joey. Joey has absolutely bottled it. He's not doing very much for his home hero.
And also there's a massive crash in the background. Bram, Alex Bram out, and that's going to cause a safety, a VSC.
That's a virtual.
Yeah,
it's a virtual safety car. Full safety car's out.
Never mind, it just decided to spawn on track.
Yeah.
Alex and Bram didn't get a view of it, but both crashing out of the Spa Grand Prix. Both of them.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, both of them will be appealing for that. I'm sure.
Starting what Bram was on P. When did he start? I can't remember. He started at P3 or was it P4?
Let me take a look.
I think it was. Actually, you can use go on to the details.
He started P4. He started P4.
P4. So yeah, if you have down 15 positions, so yeah, the new start up there. So it's really disappointing for him as well.
Seems like Alex Tur is in the chat actually expressing his anger on that one. He says he's pushed him inside of the wall, causing that collision. We'll see. We'll see what the stewards think of it. I'm sure it'll be some better.
Someone's getting clips for it.
Indeed, but also there's another thing we should mention is Toby, whilst he's using all that ERS to try and break through that DRS zone, he just quite simply hasn't. That's gonna be mainly down to the fact that Volta has those medium tyres. I want to ask you, Maffio, when Volta transitions onto the hard tyres, do you think he'll keep that same pace up against a Toby with medium tyres?
Well, we'll see what happens to pace and sort of tyre wear, really. I mean, if I was Volta, I would probably pit now onto hards and go to the end. They can probably go that far. The mediums can do 12 laps at 13 laps. I don't see why the hards can do 16 laps, 17 laps. There's got a glitch barrier back there, so I don't see why not. If I was these mini runners, I'll pit for hards and then just stretch it to the end. Get your pit stop out of the way and just stretch it.
Well, we'll see if he'll take the advice into account. I don't think he will. I feel like
it's a bit of a dark zone. This is.
Yeah, I feel like he's in the pit lane. He has taken your advice. He's listening commentary, and yep. Looks like everyone's heard you on comms, Matt, and they were like, "Yep."
This is why I messed the strategy. Well, unless I didn't really do that yesterday, but that was more because being conservative and making sure it gets to the end. Yep, hard tires going on.
Well, the 7.004 km.
Oh, Toby's gonna miss the safety car. Oh. Sorry, I just looked at the McLaren on the map, and he's heading towards safety car at full speed. I thought he's got to slow on the brakes. I didn't actually see it on my screen. I just saw it on the map, and I thought that orange dot's not slowing down. So luckily the safety car was off the line, so he managed to brake away from the safety car. Didn't overtake it. So definitely, it's a good thing for him. But yeah, Volta's down to P12. I think now it's damage. It's all just minimising the amount of damage you're going to lose during the field spread when the safety car comes in, and then try and pick up some pieces off on those slightly better tyres. So we'll see how that goes out. Toby now just needs to try and push as much of a gap as possible. But the thing is now, they will be on very, very quick tyres at the end of the race.
Just a little bit of a question here, Matt. MGL, of course, getting that contact with Toby into the com. Do you see MGL fighting his way back to the top, considering of his pace, or do you think maybe the strategy, maybe the safety car, has come out at a really bad time for him? Do you see him actually coming back up to the top, maybe fighting his way through the pack once more and having another battle with Toby, or do you think it's just a bit far-fetched and that MGL's chances of winning this race are over?
I don't say it's over, but I think it's almost certain it's probably not going to happen, because obviously he's got to overtake 9 cars and plus he's got to take into account the other people that's just pitted behind him. Volta's only 2 places behind him, so effectively MJ's only 2 positions away from the lead, and Jerry's just left possession. He's just got in the car and he's just left again. Safety car's in this lap. I'm going to try and get Jerry back in again. Not sure what's going on with him.
Well, as you're trying to get Joey back in, Magny's going to try and get into the top spots here on the grids.
There's a bit of it's confusion here with.
Oh yeah, what is going on
AI.
here?
I think they're all trying to overtake the AI, and they've all just
Maldy gets a
up.
5-second time penalty for it, and so does Kevin Byland. So Maldy's going to be absolutely fuming at that. I'm sure he will be. He's probably screaming.
I think Maldy might overtake Toman. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Well, nevertheless, drama in the midfield on the safety car, but we now say goodbye to said safety car as we restart here in Spa. Looks like Julian gets an overtake here on Crooked. Crooked, they're going to go down the inside, I believe. No, around the outside, actually. Julian looking to keep the position. Has done very comfortably onto the exit. Crooked looks to come straight back at the Alfa Romeo. Looks like Dark Engineer also getting close. Maldy getting closer even. This is going to be very tight going into Lacombe here. Crooked here. He's going to get very close to Julian. Dark Engineer side by side with the Haskar. He's now pulling ahead of said Haskar. Crooked getting very close to the Alfa Romeo. Apologies. Looks like he doesn't go for the overtake. Joey and MJ just squabbling for P9, and it looks like Joey's able to win that bout. Seems like on the restart of the safety, we've had a few overtakes, but nothing too super entertaining as Slurp goes wide. And it seems...
Ooh.
What's happened?
Oh, Jerry's AI Jerry's just rejoined, and I think Toman rejoined at the very similar points, and they're right next to each other on the track as well. So I think they were both thrown off. Both of them joining back onto the cars at the exact same time. Toman came in, had a bit of a moment, and then Jerry came back in, had his own moment as well, right behind him. I think a little bit of wobbles there just from both of them coming back onto both of them taking control of the cars.
Kevin Byland going down the inside on Ripley, but of course that time penalty going to be affecting his race. Maldy with that 5-second time penalty, I'm sure he's going to try and get that removed after the fact. And you can just see Joey here. Look at the pace he's got here.
He will get removed in the pit lane, so you want him to get it removed.
Oh, what is going on here between Toman and Joey? Just weaving down the straights. And I don't know about you, Matt, but I don't care if you're the car ahead. And
you just missed Toby and Magny going side by side through the bus stop chicane.
Oh,
and now Magny's going side by side with Julian.
Yep, Julian down the inside, a little bit of a wobble on the exit there for Magny, and Julian is side by side with Magny onto the exit. Haas versus Alfa Romeo. That squabble between Magny and Toby came to a close. Not side by side through a Rouge, they've done it! But Magny's able to retain the position, and now you can just see Crooked with the better exit. Julian versus Crooked here into the Camel Straight. They're side by side. Are they going to be side by side going into Lecombe? I don't think they will. Maybe the Alfa Romeo looking for it down the inside. No, he doesn't. Still looks to keep his nose there, but he can't. And a squabble between Magny and Toby ends with Julian losing a position to Crooked.
Yep, and during all that, Jarvis has picked up front wing damage at the exit of turn 1, so his race has just got even worse.
Yeah, really, really poor for that driver there. And it looks like Maldy's round.
Yeah, flags.
Maldy is round into the left turn. He has a 5-second time penalty as well. He's going to be absolutely fuming when we rejoin his party.
What are the flags? It's Slup. Slup has slipped.
And now he's down into P14. People getting... I don't know what the term is. I forget. But anyways, you could just see Magny here. Is he going to go side by side with Toby into the best stop chicane now? No, he isn't. Not going to look for the move just yet. Maybe he was getting a little bit impatient, actually. Looking for that overtake in the bus stop chicane as MJ squabbling here with Toman. Looking for that switchback manoeuvre here. Toman, is he going to get the run down into turn 1 to progress this overtake attempt? I don't think he will. I think the Williams just has the better exit speed. And down the inside, the AlphaTauri goes, almost making contact with MJ up top in there 4. Toman actually slips down 2 positions, potentially even 3. Kevin Blyland flies flying through. But we're going to turn our attention back to the top as Magny's got DRS here on Toby on the restart the safety car. Look at the pace going down into the com here. The Haas car versus the McLaren. And no, it looks like Magny. They go through. Oh, that's a massive, massive wobble. And Toby has gone round. Magny picks up the free position.
Oh, there's a big battle here going for Gilda and Volta. The car's going off the circuit here.
And it looks like Magny's actually getting overtaken here by Crooken. Down the inside, Crooken went on Magny, going into that progressive right-hander. Got the overtake done and dusted on the Haskell, going into this left-hander. Looks like Magny's still keeping well within those 2 tenths, getting very close to the Aston Martin. Could look for another move here. They're going to be side-by-side going through this right-hander, the Haskell versus the Aston Martin. Contact between the two of them, but it doesn't end in anything fatal. Crooken is able to retain his P1 in Tier 2 just for the moment, though.
Yeah, I think Crooken just went just a little bit wide there, and it just obviously Magny's trying to give him the room, but doesn't want to be too generous. And I think it's just that little bit of side pod contact. It just starts to lead both cars into a slight uncontrol, and they both have to recover that slightly there. As Volta and Joey, also Joey's has just disconnected again. So I don't know what's going on with Joey today. He's disconnecting, but Volta's through.
Whoa, M-Gelled!
Oh, Gilda!
Yeah, M-Gel, that's a how you say it, by the way, Matt, M-Gelled, with like a massive misjudge of the braking zone. That was a really scary moment. He actually runs no assist. He's told me that he has just about now has started to actually switch over to no assists. And there's your proof. Almost going straight into the back of the car ahead as Magny now, look at the rundown he's going to get here on Crooken in the Camel Straight. I don't think he even needs to completely overtake in Lacombe. He's just going to get the manoeuvre done and dusted, and Crooken has to obey that DRS, and the Haas car re-overtakes for P1 through the Camel Straight.
Yeah, meanwhile, still more battles were going between Kevin and Volta. At this moment in time, he's got him fighting for the last few laps now. And they're still looking to make a move through this understeer right-hander. Even though this corner has a name, to be honest, I just call it the understeer right-hander because it's downhill. It's slightly off camber, I feel like. And you're always constantly chasing that apex. You're leading to no-name. And they've seemed to sort themselves out again. Kevin obviously on those mediums, but he's got a penalty to take care of as well.
Now,
I also just noticed that Toby's down to P5. I only just noticed that.
Yeah, he had a wobble, had a moment, and he spun.
Oh, you see that? It's in the barriers! You just commented to cursed him! He's in the barriers!
Oh!
And he's left the session!
And that's worthy of an oh my moment. I've just completely ruined Toby's race and given him the old commentator's curse. That's the commentator's curse in full effect, folks. And Toby...
that was ridiculous. As soon as you said, oh, he just had a little bit of a moment, and as soon as you say that, his car had a twitch, and then he went straight on into the barriers.
Well, Magny is into the pit lane after that dramatic turnout for Toby. Magny peeling into the pit lane, and he's going to be looking to go for that massive undercut with those mediums. You did mention that the mediums can last quite a long time here in Spa, so he's peeling into the pit lane right now, looking to get a massive undercut on the car in front, which is obviously going to be Crooken. Do you think he'll be able to complete this massive undercut?
He will. I mean, if these guys continue to schedule stop, he's going to have a good 3, if not 4 lap undercut. So he may as well push as hard as he can, get as big a gap possible, and then when he doesn't have the tyres as much towards the end, he has the gap for protection.
Oh,
is it 3 wide? Oh, contact! Oh no! The dilemma and chime.
How on earth have they not died? I literally went I went on Toman's onboard, just damage behind. Okay, but Chime and Dilemma. No, I just looked behind on Toman because I knew there was a battle there, and I just looked behind, and literally they both just go into the water at the same time, and we're going, like we're looking at a little kitty or something. But
visually looked good for the front wings, but I won't be surprised if there's a little bit of what I call lime green damage, where it's not visually there, but there is slight damage there that does slightly affect your performance, but not a lot. But it is there, and it does slightly hurt your lap times. But whether they've got away it properly is for whether to be seen with the pit or not.
Looks like people.
So everyone else seems to be going. Oh, and that was Ripley almost going to the back of Volta there.
Yeah, he just got a time
Almost.
penalty as well off of that. Going into the first turn, he's going to be around 8 tenths back from that massive mistake now. And people people are not transitioning, but they're starting to get 10 lap hold hards, including the top 3. Is this the time for them to box?
Well, technically, you think it's not quite. It's not the optimal sort of strategy. Technically, going long on these hards and then pitting for the mediums is a little bit quicker because you lose a bit of performance towards the end of those mediums. But if you can make it work and you can keep the pace, this can be effectively better. As Magni saying about the undercut, it's going to get a lot of slipstream, a lot of DRS, and a lot of speed from slipstream Maldi. And he's up the inside.
I mean, as much as Maldi wants to just do the best he can on track.
It's not his race.
Yeah, I mean, this has not been the one to write home about, let's say, for Maldi getting that 5-second time penalty. Can get it removed, but yeah, I really don't see Maldi getting into the points.
And this is when I'm going to say it now. This is why Maldi's a tier 3 driver. This is a good. It's a good representation to see what the top of tier 3 compares to the rest of the tier 2 grids. So I think the tier 2 grid is closer to tier 1 than it is to tier 3 in terms of pace. But this really just shows where it is. Ultimately, Maldi's made some mistakes, but you could just obviously just generally tell that Maldi's obviously he's got his paces. He's not too far off these guys, but it's enough to notice that the pace isn't as strong as the guys ahead, as everyone else still carries on for the laps, and no one's responded to Magni's undercut.
Yeah, I feel like Magni's undercut's going to work here. He's already in P12.
Dynamo next.
Oh, what was Volta doing there? I was on board with him. Almost went into the back of Kevin Byland. He's actually got a free overtake off of it, but still very dangerous as Chime and Toman both go round. Both the AlphaTauri and Toman making contact going into the first turn.
Number 2 free paces for the Magni then.
They both go round. And Magni here, look at the pace he's going to get on Dilemma. I mean, I don't even need to say anything. He's going to get the overtake, as well as Kevin Byland on Volta, as well as MGL on Joey. Magni, his next step to a fantastic undercut has just been completed. Overtakes Dilemma. He's now well within the points. Looks like they're still battling here with Volta and Kevin Byland. Looks like Volta looking for around the outside. Can't get it though into the understeering right-hander. Into the left-hander though, between the two of them. And you can just see that Alfa Romeo of Ripley in the background could be looking for a nice overtake. Maybe a 2-in-1 wheel deal in Tesco. And you can just see MGL, by the way, climbing the ranks. He's P7 now, and for his debut race, I'd call it a win for him, even though starting P1. He is actually a good friend of mine, so he's listening to the stream now. Win the race, MGL, please. Nevertheless, though.
Tall order.
Huh? Tall order. Just try to do your best, MGL. That's all that counts, alright? Just try and get past Rick.
I mean, he's got people ahead of him that doesn't need to pit again. Which says it all. And Magni's round! Magni, no! You absolute dimwit.
Oh!
Undercut. Destroyed. Undercut. Gone. Dunzo. Finished. He's absolutely done it. He's screwed himself over. I don't know how he's managed to do that. It's not really corny to see people make mistakes. It's a flat out right-hander. Unless he's gone wide and span himself out somehow. It's the one that always seems to baffle me. How people spin there. Sometimes people spin there because they use the inside curb, which does put people off. Shame that is. It's a such the undercut, and then he's gone and ruined it. And
well, here we go, action.
Way off.
Here in the Camel Straight, and I've just removed everything. It's a McLaren versus the AlphaTauri, of course. Both going side by side through Lecombe. They're side by side no longer, and it looks like Kevin Byland finally gets the better of Volta once more. Volta looking for another manoeuvre on the McLaren. MJ right now is just living in Freetown as it is. I believe he's actually got a podium right now. So MJ to get 15 points. I mean, on debut. I mean, it is a fantastic feat. But oh, look at Volta. Look at the how close he's getting here to the McLaren. AlphaTauri versus McLaren here.
Those mediums are going off.
And you can just see it's coming into full effect here for Volta. He's got a great pace here on Kevin Byland. Surely going into the bus stop chicane, he might even look for it. Let's see if he does or doesn't. Onto the, you call this a straight, but it's not really. You got that left-hander, which we have seen many people go side by side through. And now look at the pace that Volta has. Look at the rundown he's got on the McLaren. Is he going to look for it in the best stop chicane? He's hit contact. He's hit the back of him. Luckily, nothing fatal. And Volta, there's contact between the two going into the best stop chicane. That could have been fatal, though. And then there goes the McLaren. They both got contact once more. What did I just see? And looks like MJ's got the perfect view of this. And now you can just see, is it going to be three abreast into the first turn? Oh my. MJ looking for a switchback manoeuvre, looking to get some free positions, but there's still two abreast, it seems, between Volta and Kevin Byland. MJ with literally the perfect camera angle of all that. 3 wide going into the first turn in Belgium. That is absolutely fantastic racing. Kevin Byland, Ripley,
look and Volta. Look at Ripley. He's gone in the middle.
He's gone into the middle.
That's dangerous.
They're 3 abreast going into Le Com. Absolutely unbelievable. Looks like Volta had to back out of it, because if he didn't, he would have literally died. MJ down the inside of Ripley. Volta into P4. MJ into P5. That is what you call racing.
Yeah, Ripley went for gap there, which I think I was going to close. He basically then pried it back open again, and then tried to force his way through, and I don't think Volta was having any of that. No, sorry, it's Kevin, I think that was. Just put him back in his place.
I mean, he's just forcing his way through there. I mean, what a way to do it as well. That was a fantastic bit of racing.
I'm also pissed off. I don't want to stir anything up, but it's going to be a bit cloudy at the moment.
Oh, is it going to be commentators?
I don't know what the weather is. We don't know the weather at the moment. I don't know if you do. No. But it is getting cloudy. And this is Belgium. You can't take account of some rain.
Yeah, I mean, Magny, by the way, how's it going after him after that spin for his undercut? Looks like people will be pitting around now. And if Magny was...
This is quite late for the hards, actually.
Yeah, if looks like Joey's staying out. Everybody's staying out.
Is that why Magny pitted early? Because there's rain coming. Do you think that's why?
Maybe.
Because there's no way we pit that early. No one pits that early because I want to, really. And Volta's made a move on Kevin. And maybe that's why you think that maybe the hard runners pitted early. So they can comfortably get to the rain period.
Kevin Byland here versus Volta.
He's just pushed him off the circuit.
What is this?
What
is that? What is that? I'm sorry. I'm absolutely appalled of what I've just seen there from Volta. I'm no racing driver, right? But that is absolutely ridiculous. The one thing that I hate, Matthew, is exactly when stuff like that happens, when you just push a driver way too... You literally give him no room anywhere for a straight. You're weaving down a straight, stuff like that. It absolutely annoys me, and I absolutely hate it. And Volta is going to get a massive penalty for that, and in my opinion, it's well deserved. Chime with a penalty as well. But after the race, Volta's surely going to get a time penalty for this. We were on board with MJ on that one. That was absolutely appalling. I'm very upset.
It's one of those things where Volta should have gave him space, but saying if they were not actually at a corner.
I mean,
Kevin did have an option of backing out. He could have slowed down. And to be honest, when he got on the grass, he did have a commit. And it's one of those things, when you get on the grass, you have to keep your steering wheel straight. If you're going to keep trying to turn in and try and open up a gap back onto the track, you're going to make it very difficult to keep control of your car. Especially if Volta does move to the left and does open the space up.
The fact we saw him on stream, and literally all 4 of his wheels had to be on the grass.
He should have backed out, really.
The fact he's even been pushed out to go onto the grass is ridiculous for me. I mean,
intermediates. I see intermediates. That's mediums for Crooken. Sorry, I just put it in there, and it's intermediates for Darkin.
So, looking for the... Maybe it's hold on. Crooken mediums. Everyone else maybe transitioning also onto the mediums. No intermediates. Looks like it's just a really bad strategy call there from Crooken. And what's Callum doing? He's on to the softs. Not too sure
Yeah,
what Callum's doing.
No, that makes more sense than being the mediums. That does, because they're going to have more punchy tyres towards that rain period. Unless they're probably just going to mediums because they don't have fresh softs. But I think they've gone to softs because maybe they're not sure. They make it to the rain periods. But remember, the intermediates are not too bad in the dry. They could hold on for a good few laps. I think I remember it was actually another league on Saturday. If I remember it was safety car came out. I think half was pitted for intermediates, and then about 3 laps after the safety car went back in, it started raining, and then for the last 2 laps, the intermediates just breezed past the slicks because the slicks have no grip in the wet, but the intermediates you could still drive them away. You're only about 4 or 5 seconds slower a lap. As soon as the slicks get onto wet track, they're 20 seconds slower. So it's better to be on the intermediates when it's dry than try and hold off on the slicks when it's wet. I think that's what these guys are thinking. They'd rather get intermediates now while they have the opportunity, close the gap back up, and then these guys now, when they make the move for the intermediates, they've got to then do it under racing conditions.
So, of course, we don't know exactly when the rain comes.
Yeah.
But given off the database that we have with people pitting, people not pitting, do you think it's coming around lap 20 maybe? Lap 18? I mean...
Well, if it was lap 20, it wouldn't be a point, because by the time the rain comes down, by the time it gets to the end of lap 22, it would just be about wet enough. And that point, it's no point anyway, it's too late. What it says, well, obviously Belgium's quite a long circuit. If it starts raining now, it could be wet by the end of the lap, where, you know what I mean, especially under the safety car. But considering where Alves is, the safety car will probably be in next lap already. And, you know, the longer it stays out, the better for the intermediate runners. Joey's in.
Jimmy is in, I'm sure, transitioning onto those intermediates. We'll just take a look right now, and yes, he's on those intermediates. So, yeah, people thinking, going onto those intermediates. If you're Volta right now, if you're Evangel right now, if you're Crooken right now, what do you do? Do you just transition onto those intermediates now? Do you think it's the right strategy call?
Well, if he pits down for intermediates, he's going to drop down to pretty much dead last. No, but he will drop down to last. That's if he pits. But he needs to make the move now, because if everyone else pits before him, he's definitely going to be last. But if he pits now, he could probably still get out on P10 or something like that. Because there's still another 5-6 cars to pit for intermediates. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But when you're in the lead like that, it's difficult to make that decision whether you want to or not. Because for all we know, that rain might not be coming until another 3 or 4 laps. And actually, this could actually be the way to go. That is to stay out. But like I say, just 1-2 laps too early for the rain to come down could end or glorify his race, depending on how it.
I think I can see rain on my screen. Am I just being stupid?
I can't yet.
I thought I saw rain on my screen for a second.
You will see the. I always look on the cars and the halo.
Yeah,
and then look on the sky.
I made the same mistake in a Japanese race, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's rain on the track!" And then someone told me, "There's no rain on the track, mate. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Never mind, there's no rain on the track." I
always look on the halo. You will see the streaks of rain. That's how just normally you see a little. It will happen quite suddenly. That's the easiest way I can find out.
It seems like
Got me in a slap. There you go.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of anger being dished out from Kevin Byland.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I think it's definitely fair, but he has said that guy is the worst driver he's actually driven against. Very harsh words, but I feel like, I mean, for what? I mean, I don't know. There
was a lot of aggressive racing between those guys.
I mean, it was a good battle for what it was, but I mean, in the end of the day, I think
frustration was
to squeeze him out a little bit too much.
I think frustration was coming out there. I'll tell you what, though, these intermediate runners don't have to worry about warming up the tyres. The tread is enough warming up as it is. You forget the intermediates has actually got a softer compound than a soft tyre does. just naturally because of the tyre temperature. Obviously, less contact patch, less grip.
Well, here we
Now
go.
the
The restart.
Yoda's in the pits.
Looks like MJ instantly going straight into the pit lane. Seems like he's instantly peeling into the, well, of course, peeling into the pit lane.
It should have done. They should have pitted last lap. Now it's going to be just doing racing conditions.
Yeah, I think they've really messed up their strategy there, and that could be proving fatal to their race. But nevertheless, for the medium runners, I mean, we'll see how it works for them. Magny's into P6 after bottling his undercut strategy, and look at the pace he'll have here against the intermediate runner of Ripley. And now Dark Engineer, 2 for 1, like a Tesco meal deal potentially. No, stays behind, going into Lecombe, and
there's the rain.
Yeah, there's rain on track. I can see on my screen. There is rain on the track. Toby has.
I'm saying intermediates is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be wet. It'll be wet by the end of lap 19, and these slicks will be useless.
Yes, and I agree. And soon we'll see the animation of like a little droplet on the screen, of course, which will then tell you there is rain down on the track. Definitely the right call to go on those intermediates inside of the safety car, I believe. Yeah, I can just see that there was one little tiny droplet of rain there. I just saw on my screen. So yes, there is rain coming down. But like you said, because Spa is such a long circuit, by the start of the lap it might only just have a little bit of rain on track. But by the end of it, it could be like a whole swimming pool as Volta's and he's pushing Crooked again. I mean, he's just... he's not leaving anybody any room. Magny's able to get the overtake on Dark Engineer. Here comes Crooked on PUR Volta down the inside. The Aston Martin goes of the Alpha Tauri. And looks like on the exit of the second turn, he gets the overtake done and dusted. And now you can just see that animation of the water droplet coming onto the screen.
Julian's just disconnected.
Who's disconnected?
Julian.
Oh, that's a shame for Julian. If we can.
I can't even blame, but I'm just on my recents. I know it's on PC, innit?
Oh, Tobin's almost just been spun there by Dilemma. He's going to be absolutely fuming at that one there. MJ, I think he's just messed up his strategy, really, by not pitting under the safety car conditions. And MJ is going to come out, and he's going to be into P... Okay, he's lagging on my screen. It might just be my Wi-Fi, but there is lag. Looks like Alves and Maldi looking to go side by side. Oh, there's a lot of lag on my screen. Holy mackerel. Cars are jittering all over the place for me.
I don't have Julian as a friend. He's losing positions. That might be his race over. He's on PC. I can't invite him.
Well, think about this. Dark Engineer is going to be the leader of the Grand Prix very soon. Of course, the people up top are going to have to pit for intermediates very soon. Dark Engineer will be leading the Grand Prix, and if he's able to take the victory, he will close the gap to Yavuz Tugra massively. And in just one little race, he's going to close that gap down from, I think, 39 points to around 14 points. That is absolutely humongous. But you know what else is humongous? Potentially this overtake. Volta versus Magny. Now they're side by side. The AlphaTauri and the Haskell. Yeah, getting that little squeeze there from Volta. Looks like Magny's going to get the overtake on Volta. And surely they're peeling into the pit lane. Crooken. No, he stays out. Magny
it's not wet enough
out.
yet. It's not quite wet enough yet. The rain's coming down. It's not taking DRS as enabled, so it's not quite wet enough yet. Just the rain's taking its time, I think. If we're going to take advantage of this wet tyres now, it needs to be now. It needs to change now. Like I say, it doesn't take long for you to end up catching back up on these intermediates as soon as it gets wet. It's only going to get worse for these slick runners. Darkin, I think he might be on for a race winner.
I do as well, and if he does get that, like I said, it will be absolutely huge for the championship battle. Maldi, 3-second time penalty. Not what he wants to see. Chime retiring from the session. But I mean, if you're Maldi's point of view, you're going to probably get points from this race. You know, you're probably quite happy from this, aren't you? For a tier 3 driver who's just been disrespected by Mafio in the comms box. But nevertheless, we didn't talk about that.
It's just stuff we trade also.
So Dark Engineer, of course, on PC, and I'm just going to say this for Maldi, so Maldi doesn't say this again, because he hates it when he has to say it. Just because they're on PC does not mean that they're cheating. There you go, Maldy. I've done you a favour. So now you can see Magni 1.2 seconds is the gap between him and Crooken. Do they pit this lap?
Disconnected.
That's a massive moment there, as Alves is going to get a very easy overtake on him very shortly. But I wanted to ask you, Maffio.
No. Sorry. Please don't say Ripley's AI will pit for slicks. If it does, I'm gonna cry if it does.
Bro.
Because it's still not quite intermediate. It's disabled. Hopefully, it might be a stroke of luck. If
Volta's not pitting, Magni's not pitting. Sorry, but Crooken, Magni, and Volta not pitting at the end of this lap.
Ripley's is not pitted. Okay, good.
I mean, look at Ripley though. He's got a little bit of base in the AI. You know, he's got to be a little bit of base there. He's going back.
One thing we need to watch out for now is Darkin. You need to watch that gap between Darkin and Volta.
Well,
that's 5.1.
I don't think it's worth for the people actually to pit for those intermediates now, considering it's only the 21st lap out of 22. They'll most likely just continue on until the end. And in my eyes, this will potentially be a victory.
This is going to be a last. It's going to be a last lap finish.
That literally is going to be
a photo
finish. I mean, Dark Engineer, he needs to catch up some incredible amounts of time. In such.
He's just gained 3 tenths through the com.
Yeah, this is do or die really
for
Dark
it's wet
Engineer.
Now. It's definitely greasy.
Wet. It is wet. Look at the pace that Dark Engineer has.
Yeah, it's gained another 3 tenths.
This is. I mean,
this is swinging the claw back now. He needs to get Volta by the end of this lap, or maybe the start of next lap, and then he needs to get the other 2 by the end of the lap 22. This is going to be on the limit.
For the people who want to know what the time penalties are in the Grand Prix so far, there it is. Right near the last lap or 2, that's the time penalties. And you can just see Dark Engineer in just a mere sector has gained 1 second.
It's not going to be enough, is it?
It might not be. It genuinely might not be. This is going to be very, very close. I mean, he has to overtake Volta, Magni, and Crooken. I mean, it's not going to be enough. He's going to have 9 seconds to try and catch up.
He get P2, I think. I think he can get P2 with penalties. I think that might be the max he can get at the moment. I think Crooken might have this. Those fresh mediums are just giving him that extra bit of grip he needs. And he's slightly accusing conditions, but it's definitely wet now.
Yeah, I feel
and
like
Alves, I think, is starting to struggle.
Here on to the last lap, Callum leaves the session actually, maybe disconnecting. Magni versus Crooken.
Now let's go straight on.
Yeah, that's a shame for Maldy here, but we're going to focus on Magni versus Crooken. These 2 men on the slick, so they're both going to have a little bit of contact. Maybe two of these men making mistakes. Late drama potentially in the Spa Grand Prix. No, both keeping their cool. Seems like at the moment Dark Engineer is only on. I don't think Dark Engineer is even going to get P2. I feel like he can only get P3 at the moment. He's really got to catch up. Looks like pitting for the intermediates was not
down
worth
a second
the risk.
through the comp.
Yet again, it's a bit.
He's got some fast corners to go yet. Anything can happen. I think P2's still on the cars here.
This is very tricky.
And Magni's going for the move on Crooken in these very wet conditions now.
Can he look for the move? Maybe down the inside, switchback manoeuvre here for Magni.
There's contact!
There's no damage. Don't tell me there's any damage for Crooken. If there's damage for Crooken, that changes everything. I don't think it does. I don't think he's got any damage. Dark Engineer going to look for the overtake finally on Volta. He's going to get it pretty easily. But I think come the end of this race, Magni must go. Oh, Magni's in a wall. Magni's in a wall after contact with Crooken. Crooken with practically a hit and run. What are the stewards going to think of that when the race is over? We'll see shortly. But on track on the last lap, pitting for those fresh, slick tyres for the mediums has worked out for Crooken. And on track, he'll take home 25 points for the Aston Martin Racing Team. Crooken, 25 points on the board, but that contact with Magni potentially could drop him down a few positions.
P2 for Darkin.
And there you go. Darkin, P2.
I think he'd be happy with that, but I think he would have been a lot happier with P1.
This still makes this championship battle way more interesting because it's only 21 points now, the gap between Dark Engineer and Tugra. It looks like Gerald
just got 20 time penalty. I think that would be a glitch. That happens weirdly enough.
Yeah,
There will
he's
be a glitch.
glitch there. But Callum,
Oh, wow.
that was a very entertaining race. Definitely much better than yesterday, and that's gonna be something to write home about for Crooken. I mean, I don't think the time penalty, if he does get it after the race, I don't think it'll affect anything. We'll see though. It's probably not going to affect anything. It's probably going to be 3 seconds at best, and there was a 7-second gap between a Dark Engineer and, of course, Dark Engineer and Crooked himself. But here is the final results of what has been an entertaining Spa Grand Prix. Crooked finishes P1, 25 points on the board, just what he needs, but it's also what he needs. Dark Engineer getting those 18 points, very crucial come the end of this Grand Prix. Magni P3, Volta P4, Dilemma P5, Ripley P6, Maldi P7, Tuman P8, Callum P9, Alves P10, MGL P11, Julian P12, Joey P13, Toby P14, Charm P15, Slut P16, Kevin Byland P17, Alex Tur P18, Bram 19, and Yavastugra back in the grids P20. Are we going to get some people in for some interviews, or we'll get Crooked in? Invite
You
him.
definitely get Crooken in, and I don't think Darkin speaks much English.
I can't invite him anyway, so it's going to be just Crooken. So both of us are going to be asking questions for.
Oh, yeah, both PC. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, MGL. I'm sure they'll take away that 20-second time penalty. And I have no idea what that would be. That would be for. So you should be fine. That should boost him up. What? He's got 23 points or 23 seconds off, so he'll probably get P6 at the end of this race. Then MGL. No, MGL. We only do interviews for people inside the top 3. We don't do it any outside there. Melody's joined the party. Oh God. Shall we bother interviewing him?
No.
Yeah, no.
Malden gave me an interview when I finished P5. I finished P4, P5 once. So yeah, he wouldn't get from finish whatever, but he finished P6 or P7, whatever it was. Yeah, we'll try and get Crooked in.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, he's joined the party. So, Mr. Crooken lad, right? Hello, Mr. Crooken. Have you included your audio?
Yeah, all good to go.
Just quick on pistol. Just keep the questions a bit shorter.
No, I will. Don't
so
worry.
You can actually.
Crooken. I mean,
yeah.
Crooken. End of the race, you pitted onto those mediums in the safety car, proven to be the right gamble. Your thoughts on the race tonight?
Yeah, can't disagree, but yeah, that I got quite lucky out there. Yeah, the pace was okay on the hards, and I decided to stay out when Agnew, I think, went in. And I was like, oh, please just let the rain come or something. I think I would have been screwed otherwise. But the safety car came out, and that really was the luck that I needed. And yeah, it was tense at the last couple of laps. I don't know where Magny found that speed, but I couldn't keep up with him at all. It's like he was on dry tyres. But yeah, I managed to get the win, and yeah, it was a good race from a few people. But yeah, it was all good.
Anything to say, Mafia?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, got pretty much everything. The only thing I'm going to mention is when you said new dry tyres, I think you meant new intermediates.
Oh yeah, sorry, new wet intermediates.
And the actually surprising was he was actually on 13 up old mediums compared to like 6 up old mediums. So that was
exactly.
I was really surprised.
Yeah, me as well.
Maybe it was after all.
It got quite tense between us two though. In certain corners, you just had a load of grip through some of the S's, and I was like, "Where's he going?" And I thought, "Flipping out, we were going to touch it." We did nearly come on the last lap. I think we did make contact actually. So yeah, it was a tough one, but better play to him.
That's all I can hear is me, Mike, breathing. Pistol.
Right. Oh, pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, because all I could hear was pistols breathing through his mic.
It's quite a sensitive microphone. I do apologise. But I would like to just say one last thing. Crooken, you had a little bit of contact with Magni as well, almost putting Magni into a wall. Do you have anything to say about that?
What, on the last lap?
Yeah, the last lap.
Yeah, I thought I gave him enough room. I mean, he was on the inside of me. I don't, I know it's tough conditions. I don't like putting people in those type of places, but I thought I gave him enough room. He turned into me. I felt contact on the rear, and unfortunately, yeah, he did make some. He did make a mistake, and I saw he got even a 3-second penalty for that as well. So, yeah, it's something the stewards have got to try and decide, I guess, if he's got the footage. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Thank you very much, Crooken, for taking your time out of your day for doing this interview. Congratulations on the 25 points on the board for not only you, but also for Aston Martin.
Cheers.
So that brings us to the end of a fantastic Tier 2 Grand Prix here in Belgium. An absolutely fantastic race. But you can see more action from us tomorrow as we head on for Tier 3, a next chapter in that magical story so far for STB Malde. As so far, he is leading the championship by 50 points. The league owner, since the 9 years he's been owning this league, has not been in a championship battle yet. Can he progress? Can he put another step forward to try and end off that title? Of course, tomorrow. You can always join us right back here today, next week, for some more Tier 2 action. It'll be very entertaining, to say the least. It is Tier 2 after all. You can also join us next Monday for some more action for Tier 1. We thank you for watching here for tonight. You will have a lovely night.
Sorry. I'm going to add to that. Sorry, Monday is anniversary race.
Of course it is. Italy. How could I forget? Silly me. Please do, if you're a driver, listen to this. Maldi will get extremely affected if you do not turn up to the race. So you kind of have to by law now. So for Monza, the 9-year anniversary for what has been a fantastic racing league that I've been a part of for such a short period. I'm sure for the people who've been here for the long run would agree with me just that little bit more. So join us next week for the anniversary for Monday for Monza Tier 2, Monza Tier 3 as well if you want to join us for that. I'm going to stop jabbering. You all have a lovely night. Goodbye.